Hey man, you watching Cold Red with the one and only big homie. My big homie, KD. It's up there and it's stuck there. Boom!
Ricardo or more. Drink like a boss.
Hey, what up? We in Cold Red. Where there's smoke, there's fire. I'm your host, The Playmaker, and today we got a very, very special guest in the building. We got the author. We got the podcaster. We got the community leader. All the way from Madison, Wisconsin. Dee Star. Well, I'm going to call you Dee Star.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
How about that?
Yes, sir. My full name is Dee Star, but I go professionally by Dee Star.
Okay, Dee Star it is.
Dee Star.
First of all, I want to welcome you to the couch.
Thank you, man. It's been a long time coming. You know, we had to reschedule, but we here now.
We here now.
We here.
I want to thank you for taking time out your busy schedule to come share your story with us.
Absolutely.
For the people that don't know much about you, tell the people a little bit about you.
See, that's my opening line.
Is it?
Absolutely.
You want to hear something funny?
So, what's up?
I got it from you.
So for the people that don't know you, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
When I first started podcasting, I used to watch you. Then I met you. And then you taught me a few things. And I've been using them.
Each one teach one.
Still sharp and still.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So I'm a podcaster, man. I was born here in Milwaukee. But I wasn't raised out here. I was actually raised right outside of Madison, Wisconsin. And so I'm back and forth. It's a little place called Stoughton. So it's like 20, 30 minutes away from Madison. But I was back and forth from Madison to Stoughton. And I grew up in a crib, man, with, 5 brothers, 2 sisters, single mom, and everything that comes along with that. You know what I'm saying?
No doubt.
Absolutely. You know the struggle.
I know it.
I met your nephew, man.
Okay, you did an interview on.
I did an interview with your nephew, and I'm still traumatized.
Oh man, yeah. It's some very interesting stories that come up out of here, and I think that your platform is necessary because it digs beneath the surface.
Right.
A lot of them had talked to me about being on your podcast, and after you had finished interviewing them, they still anxious to see it. I don't know if they've been contacting you. They have?
I haven't heard anything yet.
Oh, man.
But they've been contacting Kingston, though. Shout out to Holy Guys. Holy Guys Club.
Shout out to Holy Guys.
You see how we segue that in there?
No doubt.
Yes, sir.
We got to
rep the brand every time. Holy Guys, everything Holy Guys, y'all.
So there was a time, right?
Right.
Before you were the author.
Right.
Before you was the podcast. And the community leader. You was just a kid from Milwaukee, right?
Correct.
That moved to Madison.
Correct.
What was life growing up for you like?
Oh man, it was interesting. Like I said, it was a house full of kids. It was only my mom there. So when I was a kid, I actually experienced childhood homelessness. So we lived in the Salvation Army. We lived couch to couch, house to house. It was kind of rough, man. But I thank God for those times because that I feel like that's what shaped me. That's what really gave me a lot of insight about life and what a family unit is supposed to be. Because when I look at the totality of my life, and I think about what is the happiest times that I experienced with my family, it was bar none, hands down, in my opinion, the times that we were homeless and we was in a shelter, and he wanted to be like, somebody to know where he was going to be at that time and that day.
All right. Growing up with 6 other siblings?
Yeah, 6 other siblings.
How was it? Besides experiencing homelessness, right?
Uh-huh.
Was that a traumatizing experience for you?
No, that's the thing. The the homelessness, the childhood homelessness that I experienced, man, it was a lot of togetherness. It was just us. You know what I'm saying? So my mom, like, say we was living in a hotel, like the Rose Star Hotel, and my mom actually like worked it out with the people, so she would like clean the hotel rooms. So it was just us in the hotel room by ourselves. No food, no nothing, none of that. It's just us watching TV. But like, and then my brother, with my oldest brother, he was like the dad. You know what I'm saying? So he kind of kept us in line and stuff. But it was like, you know, it was a lot of togetherness, man. And like I said, that part was not like traumatizing at all.
So the thing about the struggle, right, is when you in it, you don't really realize
You don't.
that you struggling
You know?
because it's just normal life for you.
That's all you know.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this question, right? At what age did you notice that you were poor? Because it wasn't right away.
Maybe about 12, 13 when I jumped off the porch, right? When I was able to go over by my cousin's them house freely, right? And I got to go by my friend's house freely. And then I got to visit outside of that, right?
Mhm.
Because it was normal for me to go to my cousin's house and their refrigerator was empty too.
Right.
It was normal for me to go by my friend's house and they didn't have no grass outside either.
Mm-hmm.
So the conditions was the same.
Right.
But once I traveled outside of that, I realized that we didn't have.
Yo, I used to think that all white people was rich.
Mm.
I literally was like, oh, they rich, you know what I'm saying? Because they have food. They actually had food in the refrigerator. They had cribs, and the cribs were actually clean. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you said, once you step outside of your norm, then you like, oh man, like this how you supposed to live, or people live like this for real? Because you know, back in the day, TV didn't glorify that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like the Cosby Show, we never thought that was even possible anyway. We knew that was for TV because I didn't know nobody that was living like that. I don't know if you did.
Right.
You know, mama a lawyer, daddy a doctor, there's 6, 7 kids running around this big old house. You know what I'm saying? Like, nah, you know. But yeah, that to answer your question, no, it did not traumatize me. It made me who I am.
Okay. So you going to school under those conditions, right?
Yep.
You go to junior high school.
Yep.
Was the conditions the same or did it change?
No, it's the same.
Okay. We enter high school.
Correct.
Things had to change by then.
Are you talking about my mind state?
Not the mind state.
Or my conditions?
Your living conditions.
My living conditions was the same. It actually got worse.
So
no, because we had a crib, right? We had the crib, but I don't even know if I should share that because I don't want to paint anybody. I respect my mom. I love my mom. She did the best that she could, you know. But if we on Code Red, we got to be honest, right? Man, it's hard. It's hard. You know, that's hard.
yeah.
You know, because the truth hurt.
Yeah.
You know, the truth
But
hurt.
when we reflect on it, we understand that where we came from doesn't dictate who we are today, right?
Right.
All those events and those small pieces made you the masterpiece that you are today. So
right.
Sometimes we have to revisit those moments, evaluate them, and look for the silver lining in them.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you're right. You know, because I'm usually the one that's asking the questions, not answering them.
Well, you ask the tough questions.
I ask tough questions. Now you asking me tough questions. That's a hard-hitting question. To be honest, man, all right, I'm gonna give you this nugget, you know. Here go your clip. There was a lot of kids in the house. There was no man in the house. There was no father in the house. There was no structure in the house. So it started, you know, when we hit puberty, it was a free-for-all. Everybody was doing a little bit of everything, right? And so my mom, you know, single mom, I hate to say it, but she kind of felt defeated and she kind of just bagged up and just was like, whatever, y'all do what y'all do.
Right.
So she kind of took my two little sisters and she kind of left for a while. You know what I'm saying? And when she left, it was just us in the apartment, and it was
Turn up time.
doggy dog. You know what I'm saying?
So those conditions, right, kind of forced you into survival mode.
Oh, absolutely, man.
So you head to the streets.
Yeah. You
Is
could say
that what led you to prison?
No.
Those
No.
conditions didn't. It was something different.
Well, I guess you're right. You know, I guess you're right. Yeah, that kind of did lead me to prison, because had I had that structure, that foundational structure, then I wouldn't have got into all of the things that I got into later on in life.
Right.
To be honest.
You move on. You get it after you're running with the law.
Correct.
You come home.
I come home.
How did you find your purpose after that?
Well, believe it or not, I used to rap. And me and my brother, we used to rap, and we was pretty good. I say we was pretty good. It was pretty popular locally, you know what I mean, in the scene. And so I was like, man, I want to do something with music. I want to do something with, with music. So I ended up going to college. And I enrolled in this thing called Madison Media Institute. And I took audio engineering because I was like, if I don't make it rapping, then I want to do either radio or engineering. Maybe I'll make beats like Dr. Dre or something like that. So that's where it kind of started.
So you knew one way or another that you were going to find your way
in entertainment. Yep, entertainment.
And that sounds a lot like my story as well.
You and me got a lot in common.
We do.
We do, man. Especially that mind state, the hustle.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We
Definitely.
always thinking of different ways to connect the dots.
Yeah.
You know?
And stay around the entertainment realm.
Right.
You know, not actually on stage, but not too far.
Not too far.
Yeah.
Because I always say, man, I don't got to be in front of the camera. I'm good behind it.
Me too.
And at the business table, or, strategic planning, or whatever you need me to do, I'm a Swiss Army knife. I was taught by the best.
Right.
I was taught by Godzilla. You can't tell me nothing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Shout out to Godzilla.
Shout out to Godzilla, man.
My man.
One of the legends.
No doubt.
You can't tell me nothing.
You go to Madison Media Institute.
Correct.
You leave there with all kind of skills.
Oh yeah, man. When I was there, I was the president of the chess club. I was the student council president. I was assistant to the dean. I was a 4.0 student. I graduated on time. And yeah, I went out. I worked for ESPN, Big Ten Network. I did product photography. I did any and everything, any type of opportunity that they had. I was on top of it, man. I worked for the school. I worked at the student center. I worked the front desk. I was working, doing like maintenance and stuff with them and stuff. I was doing everything, anything that they could throw at me. I'll do it. Even if I didn't even know how to do it, I did it. I worked technical directing for the Madison Capitals, where they, that's a minor league hockey team where they like play Team USA and all of that. I did it all, man.
And you built quite a name by doing all those things.
Yeah.
Your network and your Rolodex is thick.
Yeah.
Whenever you're in Madison and you speak Dee Star name, you're going to move mountains. So that's a jewel for my viewers and my listeners. You go to Madison, mention Dee Star.
I did it all, man.
Yeah, definitely.
And I say to the people that's coming up, because we're speaking about the younger generation, whenever you on set, be helpful. I don't care if it's sweeping up. I don't care if it's going to the store. I don't care if it's moving a light. I don't care what it is. Find a way to be helpful. You know what I'm saying? Because then you'll be invited back. And then you can be around and be in the mix. You know what I'm saying? But If you just sitting around and you just one of the guys and you just, you know what I mean, you just like a bump on the log or fly on the wall, man, you just taking up space and air, man. So find a way to be helpful.
Out of all the things that you've done, right? It seems like your Out of the Box podcast has really gained traction. Is there a do you have more love for podcasting than you do for any of your other endeavors?
Yeah, because I love the art of the conversation. So that's why I think I took to that more than anything else that I did right now. I got some other things that I've set up and I've done, and I love those things too. I love those initiatives, but the podcast has was the catalyst for all of those rest of those things for me to actually start up and move into. Like, I wouldn't have gotten all of the things that I've gotten and accomplished all the things that I've accomplished if it weren't for the podcast. You know what I mean? So I always got to show love and respect to the podcast, to the brand. You know what I mean?
No doubt, no doubt. Well, your podcast, Out of the Box, right?
Yep.
It has become a respected voice in the culture. What originally motivated you to start the podcast?
Like I said, when I was a kid, at that time when we was kind of wilding out, my mom kind of took a break. My brothers started to get incarcerated. One of them went to prison for life. The other one went to prison for a couple years. My youngest brother, he went to juvenile prison, and so I never been to juvenile prison. I never been to juvenile hall, none of that. So I didn't do none of that until like when I was like, in my 20s. But prison has always been in my life. Ever since I was a kid, my uncles, I got an uncle that's in prison for life, and we used to talk to him on the phone all the time. It's like, I don't care who you are going to know somebody that's been jail or in prison. I don't care what, you know what I mean? Even white people, man, they got a drunk uncle or a crazy aunt, you know what I'm saying? That's just a scrapper and be in and out of jail. So, yeah, that's what it is.
So what's the mission behind the Out of the Box podcast? What do you want your viewers to understand about Out of the Box?
So that's a good question. So first, let me tell you guys what Out of the Box is all about. So my podcast is based around reentry, right? So that's formerly incarcerated people, where we give them the opportunity to share their inspirational stories, music, spoken word, poetry. We also bring on community leaders, small businesses, and nonprofits to share their inspiration and share their resources with the community. So that's what it's about. So it's that's like the mission statement. That's everything. So it encompasses so much. It's really focused on community and telling the community stories, and whether that be the business community, whether that be the formerly incarcerated community, Black community, Latino community, it doesn't matter. We all have more things in common than not.
Dee Star, you've done so much. And first of all, man, when I met you were podcasting, right? I had no idea that you were an author, that you did journalism, that you even did writing, right? So I want to take the time out to congratulate you.
Thank you, man.
On your book.
Mad Town, Betrayed by the Code, baby.
By the Code.
I'm very proud of that book.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And I heard it reached #1 on Amazon's Hot New Releases. Huh?
Yes, it did. Yes, it did. Man, that's a blessing by God, man.
Definitely. Definitely. Well,
with no push, right? I didn't have a professional PR team. I just, I put it out, and, the world embraced it. The country embraced it, because it's the #1 in the country.
I think real recognize real, right? And me knowing you, I have yet to read it. I just got my autographed copy, but me knowing you, right? and the person that you are. I think you based a lot of the writings on real life experiences and lessons, right?
Yeah, you could say that, yes.
So did those influence a lot of the stories in the book?
Yeah, so the main story in the book, is, it's based off a true story. That actually really got me in trouble. You know what I'm saying? Like, but when one door closes, another door opens. But so, man, you got me telling some behind the scenes secrets,
Hey, listen, you have to been through something to sit on this couch.
Right.
Everybody can't sit on this couch. You got to have a story to tell.
That book got me fired, bro.
How did it get you fired?
So, I was doing podcasting and production, teaching kids in the jails. You was with me.
Yes, sir.
Right? So I would bring, I would go to the jails, right, the juvenile detention center, and I'd teach them how to do podcasting and production. The first day, I teach you how to do it. The second day, I'll bring in special guests. One time, I brought you in. You and Cuckoo Cow, right?
Yes, sir.
And then the kids will interview you. They use the skills that I just taught them yesterday, and today, they actually use them. You know what I mean? And I did that for 4 years. I'm in and out of the jails 4 years. And I seen a lot, right? And so I'm like, man, I'm about to write a book, man, a cautionary tale for these kids, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I use the main character as my son, right?
Mm-hmm.
My son, Alexander Star, right? Changed the name. And then I never used anybody's name or anybody's real world, experience.
Right.
Right. But when I did the book, they told me, they was like, man, you didn't tell us that you were writing a book. But I did. But they was like, you said that it's based in the juvenile detention center. Well, the juvenile detention center is a public place, right? I can base it at a public park. I can base it at a public library. It's still public, right?
Right.
So I don't need your permission to, base it, in this facility, right? And I didn't use anybody's name. Everything is, you know what I'm saying? Like, so they got upset with me and they said, they want to cut ties with me, right? This is before I put the book, before it was out, you know what I'm saying? So I'm like, yo, why can't we just talk? You read the book. If there's any changes that you want to make, we can make the changes, right? We could talk about it, have a conversation. They didn't want to do it. I said, cool. I said, that's God right there. I said, because when one door closes, another one opens. I said, I must be doing something right. I said, I'm going to put this book out the way it is. With everything that it says, I'm putting this book out. And I said, I guarantee you this book going to take off. I put the book out. Within hours, #1 in the country. You tell me.
Right. Well, besides that, right, you've gained recognition from a lot of organizations in Wisconsin, like Wisconsin Broadcasters Association, the Sun Prairie Chamber of Commerce, just to name a few.
Right.
Right? How do you balance the media creator while also committing to your community?
Oh, I just married it together.
How do you do that, though?
I married it together because everything, like I said, the podcast is the engine, right, that runs everything. So I know how to connect the dots, right? So, man, I can create a program based off me teaching these kids how to do podcasting and production and serve my community at the same time.
Because they do work hand in hand,
They
right?
absolutely do.
And by you having the skills to do the podcasting, it almost allows you to enter any room.
Any room. Yep.
And talk about any subject.
Absolutely. Because it's all it is a conversation.
Right.
So what can't we talk about?
Right.
Right? Who can't we touch? Who can't we influence if all we're doing is talking?
Right.
So I started this program. It's called a Hearts and Heritage program.
That was my next question.
Yeah.
That had been on the top of my list to ask you because, for one, the name by itself speaks volumes. So go ahead. I'll let you
So
take
the Hearts and Heritage program is what I did was I took the high school students, right? I teach them podcasting and production. Then I take the senior community, right? Those same kids, have them go ahead and interview the senior community, right? I take the audio, process the audio, clean it up, and then donate that audio to the Historical Society in whatever city or town that is into. Now, guess what? We just accomplished, right? We accomplished. These stories will never die, right? It's going to be archived forever. They're in the museum. That's something the kids can be proud of. That's legacy when it comes to the seniors. The community has access to these stories, so we don't miss the game. We don't miss the history. You don't miss those stories, and everybody's happy, bro. Everybody's happy. And who can't get behind that? Who wouldn't get behind having this kid come and interview my grandmother, and then my grandmother tell her stories, and then now they put her stories in the museum so I can listen to them. My grandkids can listen to them. Her grandkids can listen to them. It's going to go on for generations and generations.
I guess my question to you is why?
Because everybody has a story, man, and everybody deserves to be heard. And I think that once we stop listening to each other, that's when our whole ecosystem is going to break down. Because, man, we need each other, man. Our country, our communities are going through a rough spell. And it's not just going to take black, it's not going to take white, it's going to take all of us to get us back to where we need to be. And where it starts is understanding each other, but before you can understand somebody, you got to know where they're coming from. You know, you got to have a conversation. And all I'm trying to do is spark the conversation and get people back talking again.
And, man, I want to applaud you, man, for even having to be able to foresee, right? I'm going to say that, to even think to preserve the voices of the people that we probably would normally overlook.
Right.
And
I always been like that. I always love to be up under old schools, bro. I grew up without a dad, bro. So I had to get my game from this person. Like when I jumped off the porch, all my homies was older homies, you know what I'm saying? And they didn't really understand, like, man, I'm really listening to you. I'm really trying to get the game because I don't got a grandfather. I don't got a father. You know, those life lessons that I was supposed to get, the game that I was supposed to get, I was robbed of that. You see what I'm saying? And now it's like, I feel like it was kind of better that it happened like that, because now I got all of these different perspectives and different layers of the game from so many different people in my community that I'm dangerous.
No doubt. Man, you do so much, right? You not only are you good behind the camera, you're also good in front of the camera. So that makes you a double threat in a lot of ways. So for the other independent creators out here in the world that's watching this interview, right? And they want to start a podcast. They want to get into film, radio, journalism. And they just simply probably want to share their story.
Mm-hmm.
What practical advice would you give to them?
Start.
The longest mile start with one step, right?
Start. What you waiting on? Start. I mean, don't worry about the money. Don't worry about the equipment. Don't worry about none of that, the logistics. Just start, bro. You got a phone in your hand, right? You can hit record on the memo and just talk. You know what I'm saying? Like, you need to start, you know. Even 1,000-mile journey starts with one step. You have to start.
How important to you is authenticity, right?
You know how important it is to me.
Well, they don't though, right? I know because we go back and forth
Right.
with this all the time, right?
Right.
For me, you said everybody has a story.
Yeah.
Right? Their voice deserves to be heard.
Correct.
But their story is their story. Right?
Semantics. Let's go.
You, on the other hand, fact check the story. Does that have anything to do or make their story less credible? And why do you feel the need to fact check?
I don't feel like that it's anything wrong with journalistic integrity. I feel like as a media, as a member of the media, it's my duty to put out the most accurate information possible. Because if I'm saying it, right, that means if I'm putting it on my platform, that means that I'm co-signing it.
But my story, right, is
Right.
my story.
Right.
Right? Whether it sounds unbelievable to you, it's my story.
And that's fine. So, but if it's your story, right, and it's factual, and if it's something that can be researched, I'll do the research to make sure that it's factual.
A lot of times it may not be.
But, okay. But I still have to do my due diligence to make sure that I did the best that I could to research the person that I'm talking to.
Say, for instance, right?
Say, for instance.
You fact check. You can't find the information. How do you go about that?
You know, I don't have to tell you this, but everybody has a built-in lie detector. Everybody has that. You don't have to intellectualize when someone is lying to you. You can feel that. You don't have to intellectualize when somebody is being sincere with you. You can feel that, right? So when somebody is telling the truth wholeheartedly, you can pretty much feel that they're telling the truth. When somebody lying to you, I mean, if you've been around the block, you know what I'm saying? You can feel when somebody's lying to you. You can feel when somebody's not being 100% honest, or there's something that they're holding back. And then you can ask questions, and the more questions you start to ask, it starts breaking down. You know what I'm saying? Like the stories start breaking down.
And that's a fact, right? But in today's society, coming from where we come from, right, we're almost trained to, I hate to use the word manipulate, right?
Wow, it's just a word.
I mean, it's just a word to others, but for us, it becomes a part of our dialogue. It becomes a part of our makeup because we are forced to be in situations where we have to use those tactics, right?
Respectfully, yeah.
So we unconsciously use those techniques, sometimes for good, sometimes for bad. But sometimes the lines often get blurred.
Okay.
Right? So when we talk about people sharing their story, how do you gauge that truth in these days and times?
Man, it's tough, man. I got a lot of practice. You know what I mean? Like, it's tough. It's tough in the beginning, you know, because I'll just be honest, man. I've interviewed a couple people that in the beginning I didn't do my due diligence, and I didn't know certain things about their background and certain things about their history. And it came back, and I'm like, oh man, you know, and it's like I got slapped in the face a couple times like that. And I put my face next to somebody, you know what I'm saying, that I shouldn't have did that because I did not do my research, and I rushed into the interview and just did it and put it out. And then I'm getting emails and calls and stuff like, hey, yo, did you know what I'm saying? Like, hey, why are you know what I'm saying? Or that's not true, because I'm like, I feel bad. So now it's like I'm real cautious about, what type of information did I put out there and who I stand next to.
Absolutely. And that's why because I stay away from the name drops. I stay away from certain situations that have been so publicized that you're able to know who I'm talking about.
Exactly.
By speaking.
Right.
And that's just that fine line in the middle, that yellow line in the middle of the road that I choose, I call it tightrope walk.
Right.
And it's helped me through my journey as a podcaster to walk that line.
You're doing a great job, man.
I appreciate you because I allow them to tell their story as
the
they
way
see
that
it.
they want to tell it. Okay.
Right.
It's just two different styles.
Absolutely.
And it's like I sent you a one sheet.
Right.
Right. I'm sure nobody did that. You know what I'm saying? Nobody has ever done that.
Right.
But I know the game, and you know what I'm saying? I know it'll make your whole situation way better because now you kind of know things, and you can formulate questions better based off of knowing what you're talking about, or having something to go off of.
Absolutely.
That's a little jewel that you can take with you. Another little jewel that you can take with you.
I got a treasure box full from you. Thank you.
No problem.
So, Dee Star, growing up, man, you've been through a lot. And if you had a chance to talk to your 17-year-old self,
right? 17.
What would you tell him?
Why 17?
Because per our conversation, right, you was able to avoid everything else that your brothers went through.
Right.
So you knew something that they didn't.
I couldn't read at 17, bro.
Does that matter? You avoided prison?
Yeah. I just want to throw that in there because I wanted the people to understand, like, yo, I couldn't even read. I had to teach myself how to read.
Okay, but does that make you smarter than the person that went to jail?
No.
You don't think so?
No, that
it almost takes you got to be dumb or crazy to go to jail, bro. To put yourself in situations that allow you to be removed from society and your people.
So you're saying if I can give myself some advice at 17, what would I do?
I know it'd be probably grab a book, but we gonna get past it.
Nah, bro, because, okay, so I got caught with some weed at school and got expelled at 17, right? So from 17 to 18, I took that whole year off. I graduated high school my junior year and my senior year. I had a 4.0 GPA. My junior year and my senior year, I took this huge amount of time off to learn who I was and just focus and lock in. And I taught myself how to read. I did a whole bunch of self-care and self-work for myself at that age.
What was the
so that's why I said 17. I don't know. I was on it at 17.
But what was the turning point though, right? That made you had survived all this time not knowing how to read. What was the straw that broke the camel's back for you? What moment made you say, I got to grab a book?
I used to kick it with this dude, and this dude, I always thought this dude was stupid, right? I thought I was stupid too. But I said, I don't want to be as stupid as him.
He couldn't read either?
No. And I was like, I don't want to be as stupid as him. And I was like, I want that piece of paper because I know that if I do go to jail or if I do something happen, that there's something that they can't take away from me.
Well, let me ask you a question. How do two people that can't read strike up a conversation to say we can't read? Like, I mean, how do you...
Okay, we was in the same special ed class. You know what I'm saying? So, I can't read. I know he can't read. So, it's all good. You know what I'm saying?
That was so y'all was trauma bonding at that time.
Yeah, trauma bonding.
Yeah. Okay. So, Dee, You did some amazing things, man. You overcome a lot of obstacles to get where you are today.
Right.
What's next?
I don't know, man. I think we missing some things. I think it's important for people to know
Okay.
that through the podcast, I was able to receive my own day.
Absolutely.
So I was given a mayoral proclamation, the Monsieur Dee Star Day. That's very rare, right? Well, actually, I'm the first podcaster ever to receive their own day in my area, at least. And then, like a week later, they asked me to receive another proclamation for Black History Month, right? And then 2 weeks later after that, I received a legislative citation, right, from the state representative and the state senator, right? All of those things stem from the podcast, right? Everything is podcast driven. Mm-hmm. So I went from having an idea, right, of this podcast 4 years ago to where I am now. I think that's important for the people to know.
Absolutely important. Having your own day is big.
Shout out to OG Tweezy. He got his own day.
Shout out to OG Tweezy, man.
He got his own day in Milwaukee.
I mean, he's been an unofficial mayor of the city forever, the underground mayor forever.
Yeah, man. I got to speak with OG Tweezy once on the phone, once or twice. We were trying to lock that interview in, but we just couldn't get it done, man. He was moving and grooving, and we couldn't get that done. But I think about that often. I'm like, man, I really wanted that interview with OG Tweezy, man. I think we would have had a banger.
Yeah, definitely, man. You know, I got the last interview of my guy Tweezy, man, right before his untimely demise. And we dropped a lot of jewels in that because me and Tweezy go so far back. So yeah, watch the OG Tweezy interview.
Absolutely, man. And rest in peace to OG Tweezy.
Rest in peace to Tweezy, man. Vinny Swan.
I was just talking to Homer Blow about Tweezy.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, man.
Shout out to big bro Homer Blow.
Yeah, shout out to Homer Blow, man.
So Dee Star. Again, I want to thank you for taking time out your busy schedule, man, to come share your story with us.
Absolutely.
And what a great story it is.
Thank you, man.
Thanks for coming to Cold Red, where there's smoke, there's fire. I'm your host, the Playmaker, and this is the author, the community leader, and the podcaster, Dee Star.
Dee Star.